Hello, everyone, and welcome to the space portion of my channel again. This is Extreme Tuber 7, and we
Entering
are
system, Gaian prophecy.
whatever that
False.
person said. We're doing more of Operation Mjolnir Mozart, and there are going to be a lot of these because Operation Mjolnir Mozart, I never really got to fully explain much of it, but also nice to know that we have Jackson still in this far future. I never really got to finish explaining what Operation Mjolnir Mozart was really about. So, the initial storyline that I created for my version of X4 is that this particular human, whatever they are, they could be human, they look human enough. They are from an alternative universe, even. And they actually have come from one that's like, I guess you could say Star Warsy. I don't really want to say it's actually Star Wars, even though it's actually Star Wars, but it's Star Warsy enough that they are an empire that also has Republic tendencies, let's say. So, the reason why I highlighted XTS-817 over there is because Cyanide is the name of the ship that I gave it. And every single one of these ships has their own unique identifiers because the game tracks every single ship. And this is a pretty cool arrival scene too. I try to make these types of events from the deck officer's perspective as, well, let's say exciting as possible, because space travel isn't always exciting. A lot of these videos are going to be the boring parts of space travel because I include everything. So, back to the other thing. The number that and letter sequence that I still can't remember, I think it's XTS-817 for Cyanide. That's the ship that we're currently standing on and flying on. The other one, the Kukri YEW618, is, I think, docked on Cyanide. XTS-817, I did it. I did it, Cyanide. I finally remembered the designation the game set for you. Yay. Anyway, we're going to be going towards this particular space station, and we're going to be using the coordinate attack feature to get everybody into a position, but it takes so long to actually coordinate the attacks properly that I find that it's a better benefit to just actually line them up, cancel the order, and then give a new order to attack. This, by the way, is the name ship captain. And I named him Vas Brano. Vas Brano actually has blue eyes. That's part of the reason why the ship is named Cyanide. The second reason is because the ship's frontal main laser shoots blue lasers. So that's the second reason why this ship is called Cyanide. The third reason is because of a poison called cyanide. I'm pretty sure you're catching the drift by now. So this is just one of the things that I did early on, literally, and I hate the fact that it was so long ago. 3 years ago when I started this, but I've been slowly working on it in the background, and essentially what I had to do was I had to wait. I just had to wait and wait and wait, because it takes time to build ships. And one thing I did was I cheesed about 6 Asgards. Technically, every single space station has enough loot to build an Asgard, but it takes way too long to individually collect all of those resources. So what I did was I kept track of every station that I destroyed, And then I spawned in Asgard and assigned it to me. And I just kept doing that for every station that I destroyed, which is why it technically has the name Operation Mjolnir Mozart for that reason as well, because for every station that is destroyed, an Asgard is built in its place. It then becomes a mobile station because an Asgard has a crew of about 200. I say about, but it's exactly 200. So when you're having a certain number of Asgards, that basically means that you have a mobile fleet. And now we're talking about the factions here. Every single faction in this game has an alignment. What I showed you there was who I'm at war with, who I'm allied with, who I'm neutral with, who I'm at a cold war with, and all of those levels of engagement affect this dynamic universe. Right now, I'm at war with at least 4 or 5 to 6 factions, I think. And all of those factions are of a certain variety. They tend to be ones that are specifically a religious zealot type of alien. And it's not just that the religious aliens are the ones I'm targeting, because I'm allied with a specific group of religious aliens that are trying to fight the religious zealot aliens. The main thing is, in this particular storyline, the Terran Protectorate is aligned with the zealot aliens. So what I've done is, in the process of taking alignment against the zealot aliens, have become enemies of the Terran Federation. So what I did was, I decided to take every single aspect of Terran Protectorate space, and which also is technically Federation space in this case as well, because the Argon Federation is aligned with the Terran Protectorate, who was aligned with the Zealot aliens, so I have to fight a war on 3 different fronts. I have to fight on the Terran Protectorate front. This Martian front was taken care of. This right here, that little skirmish, is what's left of the Martian sector after I finish the previous bits of Operation Mjolnir Mozart. I don't even know if those are my ships attacking them. They could be, but the thing is, my ships tend to be yellow. I actually painted my ships a certain color. And for this, I'm just switching between views until I get back to the station. Alright, so now we're in the coordinated attack phase that I was talking about earlier, and then I can finish talking about the factions again. So the coordinate phase is now complete, so what I'm just doing is generally scanning for more things, checking my progress on decolorizing the map, as many would call it. And every single red is an enemy slash Xenon. Xenon are everybody's enemy, so they're just always red for everybody. Blue are allies. This color blue are people that have an association with your allies, but it's contested a little bit. And that is a combination of red and green and or blue. Green being you, blue being your ally, red being the enemy. So, the mere fact that I placed satellites in this area made it so that they literally can't ever claim this space fully, even though they have a space station here. That's pretty fun. So, now we're actually going to be getting into the attack phase. And now that we're going to be getting into the attack phase, it's time to resume talking about the factions. The Argon Federation is a group of aliens that are... well, I forget if they're the scale people, but I think they're the reason why I have a lot of scale people amongst my crews. I basically recruited amongst a mixed, well, race, because you can go to any station that you see, land, talk to an NPC, and hire them to be a crew somewhere. Now, I'm pretty sure you realize I have so many ships, I didn't literally do that 10,000 times for all of that. So some of that had to be cheesed as well, but not all of it. I did spend a good portion of my time, enough that I don't remember how much I spent, let's just say it that way. If I spent a short amount of time, I'd be able to tell you that short amount of time. So, let's see. We'll blink it out of existence. And we got a lightning storm in the background. Lovely, lovely. But what is Cyanide doing? I mean, what is Vast Brano doing? The way these pilots fly always confuses me. I do not know why they do so many loop-de-loops. A regular person would just fly straight. They say the AI is improved, but the pilots still do things like this. Everything else is kind of nice, though. But now we're in the attack phase. So there's those blue lasers I was telling you about for the reason why this ship is called Cyanide. Live stream view is something very, very nice that I'm really glad is in this game. I'm not sure if they had it in the previous game or if it's been the thing the entire series, but I really only started the series with X2. Albion Prelude. Then X3 Terran Conflict. I rage quit the entire series because of that game. Did not go back to my favorite game, X2, just because of X3. Then this game came out. X4 Foundations. I call it X4 The Apology, because of all that they did in this game, essentially really categorizes as an apology for every single aspect of their entire game of X3 Terran Conflict. This wide view, by the way, is great for VR, but on conventional screens, it's going to look really weird. So that's the other thing about live stream view. It likes to pull out a lot, and it also likes to just kind of hover in weird random areas. And the fun thing about this is that if I had a ship, I would be able to actually fly to this location and be the camera myself by flying around and maybe parking my ship if their lasers were destroyed and their turrets were destroyed. Because they can still shoot. And they are still shooting. I'm quite curious as to why this station isn't shooting back as much, but not all space stations have defensive capabilities, which is one of the unique things about this game, is that you, when you're creating your stations, you set the defense capability of your own stations. Either you can leave them completely defenseless due to your budget and have them protected by a fleet, or you can have missiles, lasers, and defense drones. Defense drones are one of the most common things you're going to be seeing from this, and they will be hard to spot at first due to the fact that they're probably about only the size of a small semi-trailer. I say small semi-trailer because of how big everything else is. That should put things into perspective, hopefully. And I do mean with trailer. Small semi-trailer with trailer. So that's how big a defense drone is. Good luck trying to find that on a football field times 1,000. I mean, we can see them from space, kinda. They look like little tiny rectangles. But that is against something that is not immediately similarly looking to the other stuff around it. The defense drones still kind of look like ships, and they also still kind of look like the space stations. So the only way I can really tell when a defense drone is nearby is when I see a bunch of whizzing around red that has no engine exhaust, but is still somehow firing lasers. And that's usually a defense drone. And the other way is that they have a blinky on them, I think. I think they have a red blinky too. Just like the distress beacon drone things and escape pods. And also, if you're wondering why all of these ships aren't firing at once, it's because of the way that it's set up. They're not necessarily all part of an independent group. They're part of the group that I set up for Cyanide. So even though I give them commands, when he's doing something, he's still giving them commands as well. What he's doing right now is attacking the station. What they're doing right now is defending him. And the way they're doing that is however the frick they feel like it. They can attack the station, they can make sure that no other ships get within the immediate range. You'll notice that Cyanide isn't being attacked by fighters. Cyanide isn't being attacked by enemy ships. That guy is, though. Vug, or no, what was it? Did I change it? I think it was Vud? No, he was probably Vud. Anyway, that alien right there, he is one of the most insane lizards I've ever seen. And I've watched a lot of these pilots. I don't know if they have different personality traits based on certain things that I just haven't been able to find yet. But that particular lizard does some of the most insane stunts. He solo attacks so many things just by himself. I don't tell him to do it. It's not in the command sheet. He's just nearby. He's just like, today I'm going to choose to profit from this violence. Vub is wonderful once you get to see more of him. He's going to show up in a few of these episodes, but not this one right now. Besides that little bit that you saw of him getting shot. But the reason why I named him is because that particular ship kept getting shot so much. And then I just was like, what the heck is with you, guy? Why are you getting shot so much? So then I looked. I went into his ship with the teleport option. And I saw that this guy was solo dogfight acing like 6 or 7 people in the past, well, it was like, relatively speaking, day for him. He's a quintuple ace. And I don't even know if I have any other pilots like that. But he's the only quintuple ace I've ever seen. So he gets a special name because he lives due to whatever they did to the AI to make, well, everybody not be just the same point A to point B, follow order, follow instruction. Ooh, we're starting to get into the Mjolnir part of why it's called Mjolnir Mozart. These ships, technically, if you look at them from the perspective of a flat metallic surface, are anvils. And these anvils are shooting fire. That's it. That's the simplistic version of why it's that. But it's not just fire. It's also thunder. It's fire and thunder at the same time, which is... Try explaining that to somebody in the year 1044. Once we get close enough, though, you'll probably, if they're firing, hopefully be able to hear why they're affectionately called anvils. That central main laser, it's got a very specific frequency to it. And that frequency is enough that you can make music with it in a very specific way if it's engaged for specific amounts of time. Let's say 3 seconds can be one tempo, 1 second is another tempo, 5 seconds is also another tempo. Holy shit, that lightning flash was close. Yeah, I'm probably not going to be able to do too much more recording with this lightning storm. Oh, rest in peace, that ship. I don't know if that was one of mine, but I don't think it was one of mine. I haven't really seen many of my ships actually get destroyed due to this fleet setup. And that's one of the things that I was testing out to see if the AI was actually improved, and it seems like it actually has improved. Beforehand, I was losing so many ships due to them just randomly colliding, getting in the way of each other. And now, when I have the exact same setup that I paused from... Oh, there it is. The exact same setup that I paused from, it's now working near flawlessly. Operation Mjolnir Mozart really takes place when this happens. This specific effect. From the inside of the station, it sounds like this. And that is the half of the thunder. The other half of the thunder comes when they have... That was it.
Sagaris Pioneers Trading Station.
It happened for just a second there, but I was talking over it. Damn. Nope, go back. Live stream view. Alright. This one. Alright, so, if we go to live stream view, we'll be able to hear the lasers more. Not when it does that, though. When it zooms out into space and has, like, the neutral space view, it treats it like realistic space to where there's barely any sound or muffled sound, because technically we're close enough to that planet that we have an atmospheric shell that extends. That's also why we have shadows. Ah, man. If I was close enough... But I'm not, so you'll just get to enjoy the... That's a lot of laser, which means that's a lot of damage. Okay, that wasn't one of my ships that got destroyed. Oh god, what are you even shooting at? There's nothing in front of you. I don't even know what this thing's shooting at. Anyway, back to the laser thing. So, when you can actually hear it, you'll know exactly what I mean. It's gonna be very clear with certain raids, sieges. Yeah, these are sieges. Space sieges that I'm doing. And a little bit of a mention again. That unclaimed sector versus Alliance versus whatever other sector it was, Syndicate, that tells you who controls the space stations in the area and who controls, a lot of times, the police in the area. Sometimes you can have your own police in this game if that's the type of playstyle you want. There will be patrols you can send them on, and they will do actual patrol things. I sometimes utilize this feature after I've, the proper word is conquered, improved, liberated a sector from alien control, quote unquote. And... oh dear, I forgot my thought already. Shoot, I was rambling too much. Anyway, back to the pretty lasers. This space station is at 61% health. Right now, I've set things up so that each raid takes place at about 10 to 15 minutes.
Asgard.
And one of the things that I like to pretend is happening is that because it happens so fast, there's technically no time to evacuate, but also no need to evacuate either, due to the fact that after the space station is destroyed, all of these ships immediately become refugee holders. Well, since we're near a planet, they would take them to the nearest planetary outpost over time, because that's not too many people on the space station. But down there, where it says 361 for crew, that's the Asgard. For this space station, they have a crew of about 5,000 with maximum capacity. So that takes about more than 10 Asgards. So let's say about 15 to 20 Asgards to completely rescue the entire crew of the space station. That's the other reason why I have so many Asgards. It's not an actual feature in the game. Well, it wasn't, actually. It wasn't until recently. I actually found out there's a feature that they've added that says rescue nearby people. And I'm just like, oh, I'm glad they added that. But that also implies that we were never doing that before. So I'm just going to kind of sweep that under the rug a little bit. I'm glad they did it, though. Ooh, that's a distant battle there. All the way back. Ooh, that space station's not looking too good now, is it? So the top half... oh, and I don't control which part of the space station they destroy. Unless I say target subsystems, target surface area, target shields. Other than that, they get to decide how they want to tick down this station's massive pool of hit points. And when it comes to the hit points of the space station, that is one of the things that is in the hundreds of thousands. So it takes a while, and it takes a lot of ships. Even with the most powerful lasers, you're still going to take at least 10 to 15 minutes to take down most space stations. That's why I have so many Asgards. So we're here now, because I believe that was cyanide that was bumping up against the space station earlier, but there's also other ships in this category that I have. And I'm not sure if they are attached to cyanide or not attached to cyanide. XTS-817. There we go. It is ingrained now. Huh. I really would be a good Imperial with all the way I can memorize these Stormtrooper numbers. This is the plotting screen. I'm gonna call this the plotting screen, the war screen, the... hey, we need an entire room with the screen in the 1940s screen. And by the way, you can make the joke. It's probably in some of your heads if you're old enough. If you're not, then rest in peace. But when I do lose an Asgard, I'm actually going to play a sound effect if I can find it. You sunk my battleship. That reference should make people in their 50s feel old, and people in their 70s feel old, and people in their 40s feel old. People in their 30s aren't going to feel as old by that reference, because when they were exposed to it, usually it was from a reference of a time that they weren't a part of. The people that originally experienced that quote. technically are also no longer alive, because that phrase dates back to the 1800s. So, you sunk my battleship from the 1800s becoming a casual phrase that we said in the 1900s is something that I'm very humored by. And now the rain has arrived. Lightning, then the thunder. I'm still here though, so that's pretty good. I hope I don't lose power. It's not that bad of a storm. Anyway, back to the explosive part. You see where it says live stream view? That's both for us as well as in universe. In universe, somewhere, there's a random camera drone that all ship systems are targeting and not shooting. The reason why that's the only reason I have as to why the views switch so much. There's invisible Hollywood cameras somewhere that we can't see, because this view right here would be impossible for most people to have. So the Hollywood cameras, they are in the universe, but they're not actually being shot at. That's the headcanon. So the live stream view down there is both sometimes you can say it's a on the ground view, and sometimes you can say it's a random hover camera. This is what the universe sees. They see everything that you're seeing when I switch it to live stream view. If the broadcast gets to them, I should say. A lot of times, the broadcasts aren't necessarily able to be responded to due to how fast Operation Mjolnir Mozart blitzkriegs everybody. It's almost over. This station is almost gone. And I've been just casually rambling. I usually don't have the ability to fill this with that much time, but now that I can see that I really, really need to just absolutely let loose with this, it's something that I'm going to be doing a lot more. I also have a modded version of X4 where X3, the one thing they did right was fire and smoke. So I put the fire and smoke mod in. The game doesn't normally have fire and smoke looking like this. But I feel that that particular way that they did fire and smoke in X3 was amazing. It has directional detection. I don't know how they did it. I don't know how this game does it. But what it does is it creates a particle emitter that's at a source point that it doesn't matter what up is in space. You'll know where the nearest reference to gravity last was and oxygen last was based on where the flame is. So you'll have fully omnidirectional flames and smoke because it's still going into 0G. But it's starting from a point of having gravity. Now that that gravity is no longer there, it eventually dissipates. Also, that's how big an Asgard is from at least this close-up. We're very, very small compared to an Asgard. I believe this is where we leave off, because this video isn't that long, so goodbye for now.